And y'all, I
There you
don't know
go.
what's going on with Streamlabs today, but we're just gonna stay on this window for now on because if I don't touch that button, it doesn't break.
It's fine. It's fine. It says it's offline on my side, but that's okay.
I'm refreshing.
Yeah, I'm refreshing. Let me just refresh.
Let's see.
Oh, it says it's live now. I'll get through the ad, but that's fine.
Okay, yeah, it's working. I just clicked it. I could see myself typing in the.
Cool bananas.
Cool. We're live again for sure. And audio's on this time. Sorry, everyone.
I think
truly the
that's
stream
all
from
good.
hell.
That's fine. That's fine. Well, that's what happens when you deal with the down under, right?
Okay. We're good.
I just saw Sarah froze too and was like, cool.
Yeah. Cool.
Really, I was feeling left out with the tech issues. I was trying to enact solidarity. So
yeah, you're like, don't worry, I've got you.
It's okay. If we're going down, we're going down together, Keegan.
Cool. So we're selecting attributes.
Yeah, we are selecting attributes. We are selecting up to 3. I'm going to use sort of like my original knowledge of who I was at uni as a research assistant to pick my attributes. I was part of the safety team because people kept on not trying, but it felt like they were trying to blow up the lab. There were so many fires because they don't read.
Reading at school?
Reading's really important, everyone. And, when you start to make the pieces of metal that are highly flammable smaller, don't leave them where they can explode. I'd love that, please. I like not having the roof on fire. So I'm going to pick the 3 things that I thought were really important, which is reason, insight, because I had to suss out these terrible human beings, and also a level of control because I had to literally control fires. It was unpleasant, but it was enjoyable, and it reminds me of when my friends and I would have conversations about back in the days and stuff like that, and they're saying all of this daring, wild stuff, and I'd be like, I don't think I've done anything reckless or dangerous in my life. I don't think I've had any of these horrifying experiences. And then a couple of my mates were like, didn't you come up to us one time and be like, damn, I almost died 5 times this week. I almost got in an electrical fire, something almost exploded, the lab caught fire. Found out that this was unregulated and almost inhaled poison, and they're like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm alive.
It's fine. I took care of it. I handled it. But
this is how things
different.
Are supposed to go. Actually,
that was a wild time in my life. So yeah. Science definitely is something that I did a lot of work in. I want to say security because I worked in making sure that the labs were safe after a while. And let's pick con. I didn't really do anything in terms of persuade. Actually, no, I can only pick 2. So science and security will be the 2 for me.
Okay, so real fast. So for majors, did we go security or engineering?
For majors, engineering.
Okay, I clicked the wrong thing. That makes more sense. And then security and science for other disciplines.
Correct.
Cool.
And we can go through those. So the cool thing is you have your attributes when we look at the character sheet at the very end, and these other disciplines that help build sort of the background skill set that then becomes relevant for your focuses. That's why you can have other disciplines or select other disciplines and put points into those as well. After which we can then look at the 3 focuses. Select 3 focuses for your character, at least one reflecting the time at Starfleet Academy. I'm going to say one of them is definitely composure.
Love it.
Love that. Focuses. what I specialized in was alloy development. So I used to get little bits and pieces of metals, melt them together and see what happens under a microscope to see whether or not I created something that was necessary for the specific intent of the metal. So alloy development is one of them. And my third focus. What would my third focus be? What else would I do? Probably do like mechanical design.
Cool.
So we had to kind of like build some janky stuff as engineers, and yeah.
You don't feel like it was hand to hand or warp field dynamics?
I know. I love the suggested.
Look,
my one regret in playing Star Trek is not making someone who is just hand-to-hand combat savvy to the ninth degree, because it comes up a lot through the character creation. Like, are you sure you don't want a punchy boy? And I'm like,
yeah. I still remember Milan's hand-to-hand combat character, like in the first like season, and it was just like I punched them and they basically blow up because of that's how much hand-to-hand they put in their character.
That's incredible.
It was brilliant. It was brilliant. So talents are next. I'm actually going to pick a little more power purely from the adventure I had. I was on a project where I had to have this little cube, like this little cylinder, and I had to figure out how to get as much heat in it to like melt this little like kind of like a Smartie sized piece of metal. And the lengths I went through to try to melt that bad boy with the limitations I had were just I had to close off an area of the lab because they were like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "I'm safe for now.
It's fine.
Look, here's my OHS. I signed it. I did the risk, and the risk is fine.
It's manageable. Now let me do my stuff."
It'll either melt or I'll die. And
Yeah,
you learn something either way.
One of us is walking out of here.
Or I will explode. It's fine. The character, we then can pick the character gains a single value, which reflects some aspect of the character's beliefs that developed during their time at the academy. What should I pick? It's really funny. I went onto the value list that I had sent you all, and the first thing that I see here is don't trust them, don't believe them, specify race. I wouldn't say race, I'd say engineers.
Don't believe the engineers. They're lying
Don't
to you.
believe them. When you say, "Do you know what this is?" They're like, "No, I don't." It's like, "Oh, that's interesting. Do you smell that? What's that? Is it wood?" "Yeah, why is the wood inside the furnace?" Only metal here. Yeah, I'm not doing race. I'm doing people. Engineers.
You never trust an engineer. That's the value we walked away.
No. It's like you don't give trust to an engineer until they show their competence.
They're gonna earn it.
They gotta earn it. There's too many cowboys.
I believe that.
We keep circling the cowboys. What's happening?
I'm okay with it.
Yeah. Star Trek. Yeehaw, Star Trek. That's what we're
Yeehaw,
doing,
Star
right?
Trek. You could tell
So
me that
good.
was a Star Trek season and I would believe you.
100%. There's got to be multiple Wild West themes.
I think there
episodes.
is. I can't remember.
There's no way there's not.
There must be like at least one in the original series
They
because they went
absolutely
into
wanted
like
to put Spock in a cowboy hat. There's a 0% chance it didn't happen.
surely.
Wasa, I have to ask now because we're in it. Do you have a favorite Star Trek episode or episodes arc?
In the original series,
Hmm.
I can't remember the name of it, but it's like it was one of the earlier episodes. It might have been like the first one with like where like they are on this ice world. I just remember the intro. They're on an ice world, and someone like ungloved hand like touches some of like the environment. And I was like, trauma. Like, oh my god, what is this? I think it's the one with like the dog that's made into an alien.
Okay, I vaguely recall this, but like,
Yeah,
it's been too long.
there's like other ones that I've heard are really good ones in the original series, like the classic good like Kirk Spock ones.
I'm basic. I'm basic as all get out. It's the Tribbles episode, buddy. It's the Tribbles
I do
episode.
like the Tribbles episode.
It's so good.
It is funny. I kind of hope that Anita runs a game that's like the Trouble with Tribbles kind of situation.
Yes,
Because
100%.
so like Tribbles are like, I don't know how to explain what a Tribble is. They're just like
little balls
like
of hair things, right?
They look like those little craft pom-poms that you get, but they're like critters that inexplicably make more of themselves if given enough. They don't really need anything to do it. They just do it.
They just do it.
And it's amazing. Also, Mafia Spock in our
I was gonna say Mafia.
Is very good.
I was like, so I didn't watch Star Trek, so I googled Spock in a hat, and I found this, and I think this is from my favorite episode.
That's. I was gonna say it's Mafia. Like I know Mafia Spock.
So good.
That's the one that I was like, oh, there surely is a cowboy one, but I would always remember that one.
Yeah,
this is good.
He is in a stupid hat, which is good enough for me.
He has a brim. It's close enough.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Awesome. So, should we move on to career? We've been about an hour, so we could probably take a quick break here if we wanted
sounds
to.
good.
Awesome. Let's do that.
I trust taking a break on my computer. We're going to see how it goes. We'll be back in
totally trust it.
5, everyone.
Let's find this one.
Look at that. We're back.
Woo!
And we're not frozen.
We're not frozen.
Yay.
We're back. We're talking Star Trek. We have Wasa. It's the best time. And we have just reached the career section of character creation. And as the little blurb tells us, at this stage, you have a choice to make about the character. And I don't know why that sentence hits my funny bone the way that it does, but it just does. Now, before, no choices. But now, you have a choice.
This is really the first choice we've made so far.
Everything else has just been reaction. It's been coded in us. But now our autonomy kicks in.
Yep, that's it. So we have our 3 careers. Young officers are usually like the young guns, like, I'm new and I have all of this untapped potential, as it says in the talents. Experience is kind of like, I've been here a while, and veterans, like, I have, like, do not recite the old magics to me, which kind of energy. I'm going to say that I'm probably in the experienced officer range at this stage of my life, even though I feel like a veteran. Because, yes, I have gone through a couple of career jumps. But, here we go. So, experienced officer. Several years of experience in service and enjoying a promising career. The character receives a value. Thank you. And this can be chosen freely. So again,
this is hand-to-hand combat.
I'll pick hand-to-hand. Obviously, like, with my experience, I have now known that sometimes negotiation is not an option. You just have to put them in a chokehold. But before that, you have to pick a value. What have I throughout? I guess it's very like my learnings are like, I guess a good one is never back down is a good value. So the reason why I say that as a value is, like, with the challenges there are a lot of challenges when it comes to being myself in a very deeply masculine field of mechanical engineering. And also there is dealing with, like, the typical things you expect in companies and such, where there is opportunities that you have to seize and you have to be aggressive about, otherwise you don't get them, and that you have to be a little bit more aggressive compared to other people because nepotism, favoritism, sexism, racism, and all those sorts of things.
All the isms.
Yeah, all of the isms. Sometimes you have to deal with the isms, and so you kind of have to, figure out how best to navigate with that without losing, like, there was this situation back in one of my old workplaces where someone, and I wholly disagree with this belief of, when you're in a man's world, you have to act like a man. It was kind of that was like the advice that this person had given me. It's like, I don't know what's going on in this conversation, but I'm going to be like a man, and I'm going to just be confident and say what I believe, even if I don't know what I'm talking about. And I was like, I think that you are in the wrong field, my dude, because you are talking to a bunch of engineers who you are talking about the thing that they do. And if you say that it's this, when in reality everyone knows that it's something else, that drops the level of acknowledgement of your skill set in a very you need to know your shit to actually kind of like have your voice worth anything in the field. Deeply disagreed with that, and I guess it's kind of one of those things of never back down, like, as a person dealing with the isms, and also as, like, I guess dealing with it in terms of your own character kind of thing.
Right.
So it's like, you don't settle for less kind of thing, and that's like it's a good value to grow into. So that is probably why I would pick never back down as one.
That's a fun value. Just like as a GM, I would love to test that value.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, it's great. Like, the great thing is, in Star Trek, you can, like, the GM can intentionally or unintentionally press on a person's value, and someone can say, like, I'm going to bring up this value, like, you've challenged it, or I'm going to go for it, and then you use it to, like, your advantage in one way. I believe, Sarah, you had that with Taru in the first season.
Yeah, I did. So my sweet science Vulcan girl, there was a couple of times, like, her values, like, between season, I guess, like 2 and 3 were, like, completely different. I started with what was it? She kept, like, the same routine. Like, one of her values was, actually, let me just pull up her character sheet because I know I've got it in here somewhere. Creature of habit, I think, was, like, one of her values. Like, it was truly just, like, stay to the routine, nothing to prove, like, very low key, just doing the same thing day by day. And through the course of the story, we absolutely, like, Anita came for those. She pushed it. And it was awesome, though, to get to, like, watch that character shift and grow, because it was like, let's see, creature of habit, nothing to prove, and turns the other cheek. Like, those 3 just absolutely, like, by the end of our first little narrative arc, were
gone.
Like, I either called on them or they were severely challenged multiple times. And that was what's really cool about this system is the characters adapt through, like, gameplay, but it's like, it's not everything about them, but it's these core values that influences everything about them. Like, you're not changing when you change a value, your stats don't change, which is, like, really nice, right? But it just changes the way that your character approaches the situation. And that was really cool. I think, like, season 2, it was like or season 3, it was like no one left behind, and, like, there's always hope, and, like, stuff like that, right? Where it was
so great.
It changed from this very, like, passive, I'm just here to do my job and, like, do my best, to I'm invested in everything that's happening here. And that was a really fun shift.
Yeah, I just love the fact that, like, you know, you don't have to mechanize it, but it was a nice incentive for you to do that, because it made you actively think about those core values and how you played them and how it shifted. Because, like, you know, if you've played a long campaign, the first time you've ever, like, created that sheet to the last time you ever look at that sheet, it is a whole different person. Or it's like, you know, you know the growth that has occurred, which is a really great thing in this game.
And I also love, it gives you an out too, because sometimes I think, I know I've done this, I'm like, this is the character I want to play, and then I sit down and I start playing that character and I go, I hate this character. And so this helps you influence and change that character in play, again, with, like, keeping parts of it, but it gives you that flexibility to change and grow without having to, like, roll a whole new character, which is super cool.
Yeah, I love it so much. And then we can move on to the talents, and if we scroll to the bottom, there is one called percussive maintenance. So you have an extensive repertoire of quick fixes, crude bypasses, and other improvised techniques for using and repairing devices during a crisis. I did a lot of jury rigging in my life, and it was very, like, oh god, this needs to work, like, right now. It's like, it's fine, just use these bulldog clips, it's fine, like, it's fine, just, it only needs to stay alive for, like, another few hours.
I just picture you, like, in a lab somewhere, like, looking at something and just, like, hold.
It's like, because that's the thing, like, in truth, in engineering labs, you work with the oldest, jankiest equipment there is, because no one wants to give you the new expensive stuff. So, like, you're using stuff that was, like, one of the saws that we were using used to come from, like, a steam saw that they just jury rigged so that, like, you know, you could actually use proper electricity. But it's like, we had to we had to make do with what we had, and it was so hard sometimes.
Right.
But yeah,
from there we jumped to career events.
Yeah.
Which is, again, another super cool thing, right? Like, you've established that you've been around for a minute, so now you get to kind of fill in the gaps of what's been happening as long as you've been in Starfleet.
Yeah.
I loved these. I think this is where, when like playing as part of a group, we really found like this synthesis and like the collaboration between how characters knew each other, because those career events like create those opportunities to like bond everybody together into a party, which was super cool.
Yeah, I love these prompts as well, like as you do character creation.
They're buck wild, frankly.
It's so great.
Dealing with a plague is so specific to right now.
For real.
Right though. Let's see. What during my time in my career what did I do?
And that's the thing. The range here is wild. Like, literally, it's like negotiate a treaty, and then the other one, mentored. You just were someone's mentor. And like, I love that. I love that range.
It's great. It's great. I'm actually going to pick mentor. So the sick thing is, in one of my workplaces, basically there was just this dude had a lot of experience, and I was like, you know what, my guy, I think you're going to be my mentor. They're like, what? I was like, you're going to be my mentor, and they're like, oh, okay.
I guess.
Congratulations, I've selected you.
Yeah, I have selected you because out of everyone, you were the most competent and the one that I want to strangle the least. Congratulations. This is an honor. That's really what happened. Because I think that's a really for me, in my career at least, I deeply just tell everyone that if you have someone that you look up to and they have the ability to mentor you, not even like from a formal point of view, but just like a superior that you can ask questions and stuff, like it's so deeply valuable, like in terms of career and even like mental health kind of thing of like, if you get told to do something and you're like, I don't understand why, and they're like, no, that's ridiculous, like it makes sense. Like it's a great time.
A really cool thing from like getting older is going from like, oh, I guess I'm the mentor now.
When I quit my job, like I got one of those big ass cards, and like all of my students, I call them they it's because they were undergrads. All of them were like, thanks for being my mentor, and I was like, this is so cute. I was so mean to you. Like,
I think those relationships are so important, especially when you're like a femme or non-binary person, like in a very masculine field, right? Like having mentors or sponsors are so critical to success. Like
it is.
Like really, like I don't know how people could make it without it, because it helps ground you in like just, hey 100%. Man, I need help.
Yeah, it's so great. It's so great to be that type of person to someone as well. Getting that help and then being that help is such a good experience to have. And like, you know, I'm like, I hope I said the right stuff. And they're like, yeah, no, it's great. Like, what I had said to the people back at my old work was like, I'm training you all so that you can pretty much outdo who I am, because there's no point in me sticking around and being like, I don't want to be the smartest person in the room because I'm tired, and I think that you guys can probably think about better stuff than I can. So I want you all to beat me.
I love that. It's wonderful.
Yeah, it's great. I'm actually going to pick in attributes presence, because it was something that like grew quite a lot for me personally in kind of like the later years of like like even like now, but like in my old jobs, that was something that was like very strong, like not willingly. So I had to do some, like I had to be a tour guide basically for R&D and go in a couple of advertisements and stuff, and that helped me like presence wise as well, but also like leadership and things was kind of the growth that I was experiencing.
This is a tangent, but this is a good time to ask it. Keegan, I don't even know how Keegan's going to answer this question because I think Keegan is just the way that Keegan is. Have you found through playing TTRPGs that your like presence or confidence in like general has improved?
No.
No?
Not at all. Look,
I knew Keegan was going to say that. Keegan was just is.
It's so funny. I've always been the exact way I am. Like,
yeah,
that's great though.
It's really funny. Like if you talk to like my parents or something, it's like, yeah, no, you've just always been like this.
100%. I'm like, that's the thing. Even as I was asking, I'm like, this might just be a Sarah thing. Like, this could just be, but I'm gonna throw it out anyways.
No,
because I think that
good question.
That's something about like living in like the space of somebody else and like trying on different hats. I don't know. I feel like my own self presence and like confidence has like grown through that.
I think I'm similar. Like it's grounded a bit of myself of like, okay, no, this is who I am, like in certain aspects. But then it's also like that ability to communicate more effectively has like definitely improved, as well as sort of understanding like I guess interacting with the world has improved a lot more for me, because it's like, okay, so I understand that like, you know, certain individuals have different motives and like you have to deal with them in a way that's like, what's the most successful output? And it's like, if this was like, you know, like if you are running a game and like you want to tell a specific story, there are things that you can do to like gently guide characters in that way or those sorts of things. So I think that it gives you, like, as I said, the grounding aspect of who you are, but then also it provides you that opportunity to explore, like, aspects of you that you're not sure of, or, like, and interact with different types of people that, like, you may or may not interact with, like, in the future in, like, work, life, etc.
I love that. Couldn't have said it better myself.
My answer's so boring in response to just like, no, I'm just like this. I'm sorry.
I know. Here's the thing. It's one of my favorite things about you. I think like on one hand, like there's the person like me who's kind of trying to find themselves in stories. Like, oh yeah, no, that resonates, and oh yes, that's me. Oh yes, that's me, right? Like I think that like sometimes in life you just don't know who you are, and so being able to like try on different hats and explore different spaces, talking to other people, it helps you craft that picture. But there are also people that just are the most distilled version of themselves from the jump, like truly, like they are their own element. Like this is who I am. This is who I like. I just know it. It is. Like it is inseparable from anything else. Like this is me, and getting to like interact with that energy is such a rewarding experience because it's very alien for my own. Like I don't know, what do you need me to be versus like this is who I am. Fuck off. Like it's two very different places, and like the way it shows up in TTRPGs and like what it looks like is I think so interesting to play with. It's fun to play with. Like it's just a good time.
Yeah, it's so great. I love it. I love it a lot. I'm glad that I've fallen into the space of TTRPGs and actual plays. Because it's like interacting with like new people and like finding parts of you from those interactions as well. Because like I think that when you play with other people, they can bring out parts of you as well. They're like, oh, whoa, what was that? Whoa, kind of thing. Yeah, it's like it just kind of puts you a little bit outside of your comfort zone of like playing with people that are like your people, like the core people that you hang out with. So it really opens you up to like whole new worlds and stuff, like in terms of like the fantastical sense and then like the introspective sense, which is great.
Right. We've got a focus to pick here for this mentoring career event.
Mentoring. I'm going to say effective communications as my focus. The reason being, if I look back at how I wrote things back when I was in uni, living around like people with PhDs and stuff, I don't know what those words mean. And it's like they are only relevant to people who have like a degree, like a doctorate kind of thing. But throughout the career and like mentoring and stuff and being mentored, understanding how best to reach out to people and how best to speak to people to move forward is probably like something that I did focus a lot on. So that's going to be my focus.
Awesome. Yeah. And I think it takes us to another career event, right? There's 2.
Correct. There are 2.
Ooh.
So we select another career event. Mate, you know what? I really think that this next career event is going to be dealing with the plague.
Oh, snap.
It's so specific to, like, real life times.
I know, like, that's, like, in truth, that is a career event, because dealing with the plague was when I was, like, from my previous job into here, I was like, nah, F this. I'm going to go into medical engineering. F this.
I'm out.
Yeah, I'm out. You guys suck. I'm going to go here. Like, because, like, I think that, like, it is a very terrible situation that had occurred, but there was a lot of introspection during that period of time where I was like, dang, like, in terms of career and personal. So,
yeah,
definitely going to
I don't think anybody came out of the other side of this implying it's over, right? I don't think anyone's dealt with the plague and been like, I'm the same person I was when this started, like, in literally any sense. Like, everybody come out with a new gender or sexuality.
Yeah, that's my thing.
Yes.
If any person came out the way they went in, like, I don't believe them. They're lying. Like, something happened. They don't want to talk about it. That's fine. But like, I find it so hard to like believe that like that massive moment of like introspection and like just, I mean, there was nothing else to do but be like, who am I and what am I doing? Like it everything was, all the distractions were gone. Everything was gone. Everything was shitty, and all that was left was like the sense of self that you had, and like, no way, man. Anybody? No, that's totally fine. I'm well adjusted. You're full of shit.
Exactly that. Yeah, I really don't know anyone that came out of it like within from the big chaos to like the people are now actively ignoring the chaos. Like from that like transition point, like I'm very different who I was. 100%. I don't know anyone who's exactly the same. Dealing with the plague, he had a +1 to insight and also a +1 to medicine. And then you can pick a focus. So what helped during the crisis? What did I do during the crisis? I'm trying to figure out what a focus would be for like, because that is actually when I was started to do more online stuff. Like, so it's like TTRPGs and like design and all those sorts of things. So it's, I guess, like something involving like, you know, creative endeavors.
Yeah, I think so. It's funny, but like before the pandemic, I didn't play. I had no online sense of community at all. Like I played games with like the same 3 people that like lived like either in the house with me or up the street from me. Like there was no like forum. I wasn't a Tumblr kid. Like I had a MySpace page that I abandoned. Like it was not a thing. And then once the pandemic hit, it became like the only way to like do anything. And stepping into that TTRPG space and being like, holy shit, there's a lot of people that are asking the same kinds of questions as me, that are interested in the same kinds of things as me, and that are just really nice and who I enjoy. This is, and it was wild. It was legitimately like, oh shit, like I can just be myself and people just like that. That's pretty fucking wild. And so like that, it was that sense of community and like chosen community that I had never experienced before. It was wild, truly life-changing.
Yeah, it really was. I'm going to put like TTRPG space because it's like there's so many avenues as like my focus, because it's like you've got your different skill sets from like actual plays and design, and then there's like the creative writing and stuff. So I'm gonna write TTRPG Space for Focus.
Hell yeah!
Awesome.
And then it goes into the finishing touches. Oh god, my screen go black.
We're reaching the end.
We are. My screen went black. That's fine.
At exactly 90 minutes. Wow.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So my screen went black, and I'm just going to quickly create the character again.
Just read you.
Oh yeah. We put it on stream.
Yeah, perfect.
So you're choosing 2 attribute points between control, daring, fitness, insight, and presence because you've already maxed out your reason.
That's fair. I'm going to put, at this stage, your character's obviously complete, the final elements. So me now, I'm going to put a point in probably insight and presence.
Hell yeah. And then you get to choose 2 disciplines.
I know, how exciting. It's going to be engineering medicine, because that's literally what I'm doing right now, is those 2.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That makes sense.
And then you have your final value.
My final value.
The important one.
The keystone of all of it.
Keystone.
Yeah, this is what your entire character hinges on, is this one value.
I think it's
you have to make a choice.
This is the one choice. I think that I have to put it in some way of like the value of like bringing people forward with you.
Oh, I love that. When you climb a ladder, like drop a hand back to lift up. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you have to uplift while you climb the ladder as well, because there's like I find it detrimental from like multiple points of view, from like a business point of view and a personal point of view, to just lift yourself up. Also, it feels good to like be a person that you can create like, again, a community or like your own support system to make people go the way that they want to go. Hell
yeah. I'm gonna click finish. Do it.
We got it.
Oh no. No. What's your
this is just, we got some stuff. We got some name, we got some pronouns. The character rank. This is where we start to get like into like the ship assignment kind of stuff.
Yeah.
All the pronouns.
Oh no.
Oh no.
It's really not. It's not what you think it is.
Yeah, it's not too bad. We got this.
What job would you want aboard a ship, Wasa? Like, what would be your space? I mean, I'm assuming engineering. Yeah. But is there like a branch of the engineering that you would want? Like, does chief engineer hold any like sway for you? Is that something that like you see that and you go, I want that?
I'd love to be a chief engineer. I like. It's a great. I love R&D. Like, that's where I live. But chief engineer is like great because it kind of covers all avenues, and then you get to kind of help people go where they want to go and be who they want to be. So
that's awesome. There you go. I love it. And then it just covers off on the values again. And we did it, Wasa. You're now a chief engineer trill officer. That's living their best life, doing the space thing.
And here's
a
sheet. That's great.
And there you go. And that's it. And like we said, it's great. I love that everything works together.
Yes. It's a fun system too. It's a roll under game, which is always fun to see. Your focuses help increase like your odds of success when they come into play, which is a fun thing. So you're constantly like leaning on your expertise, which is really fun. And again, makes it feel like the choices that you made matter, which is super cool. Wasa, this was super fun. I have a couple of questions if you have a few more minutes that I just some like general TTRPG stuff, and then we can wrap it up. But one of the things is, what are your favorite like tropes to play in TTRPGs. Like some people are like, I'm always the wizard, or I'm always the himbo, or I'm always the whatever. Is there a particular brand that you kind of lean towards that you have to kind of like, I'm maybe not this time?
God, I deeply love I love having someone that is like in the realm of rogue type of archetype. Love it. It's this whole like, I like to have a character that has like out of combat usefulness. In terms of like, that's like they're the tricks, the tricks and the trades and like those sorts of skill sets. Tropes. In terms of funny tropes, I love playing like someone that's like hilariously edgelord. Like I just find it great just like to try to be that, because it's so hard.
It's so hard to take seriously. Like living in that,
seriously.
It's so absurd. And like the second you're like trying to make it actually relevant, it's like this isn't gonna work, but we're doing it.
Yeah. It's my favorite. It's my favorite. In fantasy, I will admit, I always fall into the realm of like rogues combined with like elven-esque things. That's like who I play. I don't often do any of the big strongs. Would love to one day. Like I am like dabbling in the realm of playing more himbo characters, because I always fall under. I always fall under characters that are like there's a level of critical thinking, because I was like, this is like my comfort area is like me solving puzzles.
There's like, again, I think that there are things that like we can't escape. Like I generally go in, I'm like, this is the kind of character I'm gonna play, and then it just like 20 minutes in, I'm like 30 minutes in, I'm like by like an hour, I'm like, no, I'm just the same character that I always play.
Yeah, like I can never escape someone that that is like there's always a level of espionage or like tricksiness in my characters, and always like some form of like, again, sort of that level of the wiseness of like understanding a problem and like trying to get out of it. Not necessarily highly intelligent, because I have only one brain cell and it works very hard, but the brain cell is like a veteran brain cell, so it's like
it wears many hats.
Yeah, it knows many hats. That is it.
I love it. My last question, and I really like this one. It's pretty broad, and I apologize, but it's my favorite one. I want you to like think across media, your books, shows, podcasts, whatever, and like, what are 3 characters that you've interacted with, or like that really stick with you and like inspire you?
3 characters that stick with me and inspire across all media, like films, movies, etc.
It doesn't matter. Wherever you found them.
Under a rock here. Oh, that is a hard one. I'm so like white across like a lot of media. Like there was like the times when I was deeply obsessed with like the MCU. And I was like, I love all of these characters. This is my favorite. But I think that, like, one, Star Trek, definitely. I loved Sulu from the original series. I loved Gene Roddenberry's reason for, like, even using the word Sulu is because, like, of the Sulu Sea in Asia. Because it's the sea that, like, that touches, like, all parts of Asia. So it was a little bit more, like, it was like the closest level of representation that I had at the time for like, you know, someone who is like Southeast Asian. So I really loved that character. I really like in anime, it's hard. So I have like there's one. Code Geass is so deeply problematic on so many levels, but I still love it. But I love Lelouch in it because I thought it was such an interesting way to create like that kind of anti-hero with like he just makes so many awful decisions and mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
And he kept going with those, but he was like, I'm gonna own it because it's like I did it. I'm not gonna like try to undo it because I can't. So I have to adapt to the shit that I accidentally or intentionally did.
We're seeing that never back down value kind of like show up here, right? Like I made a shitty choice, but it was my choice, god damn it.
Yeah. I did it. I made that choice. Did I do it intentionally? No, but I did it. Now I have to live with it. Like the consequences of my actions.
Right.
My like favorite edgelord character is in Dragon Age. Okay. And he's called Zevran, and he is from the Dragon Age Origins. He's like this elven assassin, typical, like the most typical of backstories. One brain cell. Pretty boy.
This could have been one of two characters when you were like, I'm an edgy Dragon Age character, and they were both elves. It was like, are you playing one or two?
There's the assassin one and the one with the big sword. That's just sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I love Zevran. Like, I think that I really liked his story in the Origin because it was like that like typical like highly like flirtatious assassin character, doesn't have much in terms of like investment in like long-term relationships and emotions, and then like progressively as you go through it, it's like the oh shit, and him dealing with that sort of stuff, and also like the way that the game develops and how like he gets the opportunity to stand up for your character in a way, and at the very end he can either live his best life or become head of like the Assassin's Guild kind of thing. Like I loved him as a character, and I am deeply upset by what they did to him in the Dragon Age 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pained Keegan sounds.
Honestly, the later Dragon Age games really hurt for people who liked Origins characters.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'd say those are my three faves. Those are my three faves.
I love it. I think that question for me, it's like we're all like a product of we're sponges, what we've like taken in and like carried with us and stuff. We're a combination of the stories that we tell ourselves and that we've been told, and like there are just, I feel like everybody has like, these are the characters that either like I aspire to be, or like the ones that like I fall back onto whenever. So thank you for being a little voluntary with us. I really liked it. Thank you.
Yeah, it was very fun. Thanks for having me.
Yes, and I think that's going to wrap us up for this episode of Character Study. Wasa, you've been fantastic. You're welcome to come back anytime, although you are a cult member, so you'll be receiving a calendar of events that you are required to participate in. I'm just kidding.
I just ordered my robe. It's fine.
Excellent. If you wouldn't mind, can you tell the folks what you've got going on, where they can find you, best way to engage with you, all that good stuff?
Alrighty. Well, good day, everyone. Thank you for having me. My name is Wasa. You can find me on Wasabotte, WASABOTTE, at Twitter. So I'm a freelance writer. I do a lot of narrative design and world building. There are a couple of things that are in the works in terms of being aired in terms of those actual plays, which is exciting, and I will let you know when I'm allowed to let you know about those. And also, I'm actually going into the foray of game design myself, and fingers crossed that stuff develops well. It's gonna be good, it's gonna be fun, and it's basically all the things that I like in a game because I can't make decisions very well, so I'm just gonna put them all in one box.
That's great.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, of course. As far as cult stuff goes, we have our next episode of Character Study on July 2nd. We're going to have Caleb from Triangle Agency. I like just noticed Keegan's face being like, what? We have Caleb, who's one of the brains behind the incredible game Triangle Agency, coming to learn more a little about him and walk through building a character in Triangle Agency, which is such a good game. You should go back on Kickstarter if you haven't. It's very good. And yeah, it's a riot. So anyways, thanks everybody, and we'll hope you enjoy your pizza.
See you later.
And we just rated Rainbow Roll Fest, which is